start a revolution is not hard. To end it well and launch a peaceful economy is beyond our powers. The year is 612 BC. The kingdom of Judea under King Josiah is a sprawling and powerful kingdom caught between two emerging empires. To the west, the Old Kingdom, Egypt, is under the consolidated power of Pharaoh Necho II and is looking to expand Egyptian influence towards the Fertile Crescent. To their east, the old Assyrian Empire is under assault. The growth and power of Babylon has continuously increased after their rebellion from the Assyrian yoke. Now a new ruler, King Nabopolassar, and his son, Nebuchadnezzar, takes power in the Neo-Babylonian Empire and continues the Babylonian conquest of their former rulers. The Assyrian capital would be seized by Nebuchadnezzar, forcing them to retreat to the city or Haran, where the Babylonians would once again conquer the city. After suffering a string of defeats, the remnants of the Assyrian army gathered at the Egyptian-controlled city of Carchemish. Concerned of a new rising power and looking to exploit the crisis in the region, Pharaoh Necho II mustered the Egyptian army and marched to link up with the remnants of the Assyrian army at Carchemish. This march would lead the Egyptians through the kingdom of Judea. The Egyptian force would march through the Jezreel Valley, where they were met with a startling sight. Thousands of Jews, led by Josiah, blocked the path of the Egyptians, arrayed for battle. The battle that ensued would by all accounts be a brutal affair. The fate of the king of Judea would be described in the book of Chronicles. After all this, when Josiah had set the temple in order, Necho, king of Egypt, came up to make war at Carchemish on the Euphrates, and Josiah went out to engage him. But Necho sent messengers to him. "What have we to do with each other, O king of Judah? I am not coming against you today, but against the house with which I am at war, and God has ordered me to hurry. Stop, for your own sake, from interfering with God who is with me, so that he will not destroy you." Josiah would not turn away from him, nor did he listen to the words of Necho from the mouth of God, but came to make war on the plain of Megiddo. The archers shot King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, "Take me away, for I am badly wounded." So his servants took him out of the chariot and carried him in the second, and brought him to Jerusalem, where he died and was buried in the tombs of his fathers. The forces of Judea were scattered before the Egyptian army. With spirits high, the Egyptians continued on to meet with the Assyrians at Carchemish. Joined with their Assyrian allies, the Egyptians marched out to meet the Babylonians. The account of the battle, recorded in the Babylonian Chronicle, states the following: "The king of Akkad stayed home, while Nebuchadnezzar, his eldest son and crown prince, mustered the army of Akkad. He took his army's lead and marched to Carchemish, which is on the banks of the Euphrates. He crossed the river at Carchemish. They did battle together. The army of Egypt retreated before him. He inflicted a defeat upon them and finished them off completely. In the destruction of Hamath, the army of Akkad overtook the remainder of the army of Egypt, which managed to escape from the defeat and which was not overcome. They inflicted a defeat upon them so that a single Egyptian man did not return home. At that time, Nebuchadnezzar conquered all of Hamath." The Egyptians would suffer a major defeat. Babylon would solidify its control over the Fertile Crescent, ending the century-old empire of Akkad. Egypt would lose its influence and power over the region, as Babylon expanded its control, forcing the kingdoms of Judea to make yearly tributes. In the year 601 BC, buckling under the heavy tributes to the new Babylonian king, Joachim, son of the late king Josiah, counted on Egyptian support and revolted and refused to pay the tribute, sparking the new Jewish-Babylonian Wars. Nebuchadnezzar, now a king, called on his army, as well as his allies, within the region, greatly outnumbering Jewish forces. Jerusalem itself would soon be besieged by Babylon. The following passage from the Babylonian Chronicle would state the following. The 7th year of Nebuchadnezzar, in the month of Kislevu, the king of Akkad mustered his troops, marched to the Levant, and set up quarters facing the city of Judah. In the month of Adaru, the 2nd day, he took the city and captured the king. He installed there a king of his choice. He collected its massive tribute and went back to Babylon. While besieged, King Joachim would mysteriously die, causing the surrender of the city. Nebuchadnezzar would send Joachim's son, Jeconiah, to Babylon as hostage, and would install his uncle, Zedekiah, as the new king of Judea. However, the peace would not hold. In the year 595 to 589 BC, King Nebuchadnezzar faced a string of failed campaigns, most notably against the Egyptians under Pharaoh Psamtik II, who worked to influence the support of anti-Babylonian rebellions within the Levant. The political and civil strife emboldened King Zedekiah, who launched a second revolt against Babylonian rule. The revolt, however, would not be successful. Nebuchadnezzar, after defeating other rebellious kingdoms, marched his army on Judea and besieged it once again. Starving behind the walls of Jerusalem and with no hope of Egyptians joining the war, King Zedekiah and his troops abandoned Jerusalem and escaped to Jericho. The destruction of Judea would be total and final, as Babylonian troops burned and looted everything in their path, including the Temple of Solomon. King Nebuchadnezzar ordered the walls of the city to be torn down and the Jewish people to be expelled and forcibly transported within the Babylonian Empire. Zedekiah was soon captured at Jericho along with his sons. Nebuchadnezzar had Zedekiah's sons slain before him. To add to his misery, the rebellious king had his eyes gouged as a warning to any other would-be rebellious king. Zedekiah would later die in captivity. Judah would cease to exist until 538 BC, when Cyrus the Great of the Persian Empire conquered Babylon and permitted the Jews to return to their homeland. Thank you again for viewing this episode. If you would like to see more, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel.